Hello, good evening, and welcome. I'm John Lazarus with Stories Matter in D&E Publishing. 1955 saw the release of Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita, which would go down as one of the most controversial books ever written in 1955. The novel's frank depiction of pedophilia and European academics taking American professors' jobs has made it the target of many book bans since. As with the other entries in this series, we'll assess the merits of Lolita and decide whether to save it, ban it, or banish it from history. But first, a word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by ceftriaxone. Has the light of your life left you with some fire in your loins? Ceftriaxone, the #1 medication for treating gonorrhea, might be just what the doctor ordered. 3 minimally invasive injections into your scrotum is all it takes. Once inside, this medication will relieve your symptoms and have you pissing like a gym teacher in no time. Call your doctor today to see if ceftriaxone is something they would actually order. Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita tells the story of Humbert, an expat literature professor who becomes sexually obsessed with Dolores Hayes, his 12-year-old stepdaughter and the novel's titular Lolita. Once Dolores' mother passes away, Humbert kidnaps Lolita and begins a sexually abusive relationship. Later, Lolita absconds with the man played by Peter Sellers, and the novel ends with Humbert killing him. Though already an established writer in Russian and English, as well as a translator of French fiction by the time of the book's creation, due to the novel's controversial nature, Nabokov couldn't find a publisher in the United States. He soon found one, however, in France, where they didn't see what the big deal was. While the early years of the novel was a seesaw of high praise and public condemnation, the novel soon exploded in popularity, inspiring a 1962 film by Stanley Kubrick, and has since become a cultural phenomenon inspiring other films, books, operas, at least 2 ballets, and a Broadway musical, I'm sure none of which missed the entire fucking point. We'll now look at the pros and cons of the book before rendering our final verdict. While Humbert is an urbane and fairly funny observer of 1950s America, he's also portrayed as mostly weak and pathetic. In an interview, Nabokov, an amateur lepidopterist, once said to distance himself from Humbert, he made the character misidentify several species of butterflies. And really, what kind of man would idolize a dipshit that can't even name butterflies correctly? While this one's rather immaterial to the book itself, it's pretty cool that Nabokov wrote the whole thing on index cards while touring America with his wife and son. The only more impressive feat I can think of is Kurt Vonnegut writing Breakfast of Champions on a series of Wendy's Kids placemats. While it's a bit sad the name has decreased in popularity since the book was written, this has made way for many great names to take its place. And the book is also a beautiful lyrical and witty portrayal of obsession, I suppose. A German writer named Heinz von Lichtberg published a story called Lolita in 1916 that closely resembles the plot of Nabokov's novel. It's also about a traveling academic who becomes obsessed with an underage girl named Lolita who resides in a house where he's a lodger. Nabokov and Lichtberg also lived in the same part of Berlin in the early 1930s. However, Lichtberg became a radio journalist for the media apparatus of the Nazi Party, so you probably shouldn't give too much of a shit. That's it. That's the criticism. In 1948, a girl named Sally Horner was abducted by a man named Frank LaSalle. She traveled around the country for over a year with her abductor, who pretended to be her father. Of course, these events closely mirror what happens in the novel. LaSalle was eventually caught by the FBI, but life after proved very difficult for Horner. The girl was mercilessly bullied by her classmates for being a slut and died in a car accident a few years later. Which of course only goes to prove that truth is way shittier and more horrible than even the most messed up fiction. They say don't judge a book by its cover. Well, what about a book with 180 covers? Well, maybe Nabokov isn't to blame, seeing as he died 20 years before many of these were made. He really should have put something in his will about never releasing abominations like these. Final verdict. Bye. While the novel might be jack-off material for people who sign petitions to free Roman Polanski, it's much too poignant, clever, heart-wrenching, and just terribly well-written to consider banning or burning. Make sure you buy this one. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll leave you with this week's author quote of the week. See you on the next one.